Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says he will not accept any peace deal with Russia unless his country is directly involved in the negotiations. Zelenskyy stood his ground one day after President Trump spoke with him and Russian President Vladimir Putin about ending the war. President Trump was asked Thursday if Ukraine would have a seat at the table.
We would have Ukraine, we would have Russia, and we'll have other people involved too. A lot of people, a lot of forks in the. A lot of forks in this game. I'll tell you what, this is a very interesting situation, but the Ukraine war has to end.
CBS News Pentagon reporter Eleanor Watson joins us now. So, Eleanor, on Wednesday, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said it was unrealistic for Ukraine to join NATO and unrealistic for Ukraine to return to its pre-2014 borders before Russia took over Crimea. Now, Hegseth is elaborating on those statements, saying the latter isn't a concession to Putin, trying to clarify. But what is your understanding of the administration's positions on these issues?
In this administration, it often matters what one man thinks, and we heard from him today, President Trump, on this, when he said that Secretary Hegseth's comments were probably pretty accurate. Hegseth said it was unrealistic to return Ukraine to its pre-2014 borders and to promise Ukraine a spot in NATO. That's not that much different than what military officials during the Biden administration were saying, but those are two things, joining NATO and regaining its territory, that Ukraine would at least like to talk about. So Hegseth softened those comments today, saying, quote, everything is on the table. He also said that nobody will get everything that they want out of these negotiations, but we've yet to hear from this administration what, if anything, Russia might have to concede for starting this war.
How are European leaders reacting to President Trump speaking with Putin?
The call with Putin was perhaps more alarming than what Secretary Hegseth said, and that's because it's still not clear whether Ukraine will have an equal seat at the table to negotiate its own future. President Trump said yesterday he will soon meet with Putin, potentially in Saudi Arabia and potentially without Ukrainian President Zelenskyy. Several European leaders said today that Europe and Ukraine need to have input in the peace talks going forward. The head of the European Union Foreign Affairs team said that, quote, any deal behind our backs won't work. So the initial rollout of this Ukraine peace plan is causing some fear in Europe, but it's clear that the plan is still a work in progress. Tomorrow, Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio may be able to provide some more details when they're at the Munich Security Conference.
Eleanor Watson, thank you.